let me show you how you can create optical illusions in Procreate. For all of these projects, I'm working on a square canvas, which is 3,500 pixels by 3,500 pixels. But you can also go for a smaller canvas. Now let's start with our first optical illusion. The first thing we are going to do is adjust one of Procreate's standard brushes. We'll go to the brush menu and then to the monoline brush, and let's duplicate it. We'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, and then go to our new monoline brush. And here under stroke path, we will turn up the spacing and we'll set it to 75%. Let's also go to properties and then turn up the maximum size of our brush so we can also make it really big. And then tap done. And then let's set the size of our brush to 5%. And the opacity should be at 100. Now for the color, I'll just pick a black. You can just double tap here at the bottom to pick black. And now when you use this brush, you'll see that you get these dots. Now we are going to draw a line from left to right and then hold your pen in place. And you can tap one finger on the screen to make sure that the line is perfectly horizontal. And let's go for something like this. Then let's zoom out and then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool, the little arrow up here. And then we'll set it to freeform. Then we can zoom out even more and then use the top and bottom handles and stretch this. And stretch it nice and far so that we get these nice lines. Then you can tap the arrow again, and now we have this perfect line pattern. Next thing we'll do is make a new layer. Let's tap the plus, and we'll fill that layer with white. You can double tap here to grab white, drag it on there, and then drag this layer underneath our line layer. And we'll also duplicate this layer with our lines, slide to the left, tap duplicate, and then merge these bottom two layers by pinching them together. Then we'll duplicate this merged layer, we'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, then tap this new layer and use fill layer to make it white. Now let's turn our top line layer off. Now we are going to transform this layer. We'll go to the Move and Transform tool, set it to uniform, and I use this handle to make this smaller. And move this to the center. You can go to snapping and turn snapping on and turn magnetics off to put this in the center of your canvas. You'll see this vertical and horizontal orange line. You can make it a little bit smaller, something like this. And then use rotate 45 degrees. Then let's go back to our layer menu and we'll turn on our line layer again. And we'll turn on clipping mask on this layer. We'll tap the layer, tap clipping mask, then go to the Move and Transform tool and use a rotate 45 degrees twice. And now we can use these handles to move these lines a bit so that they'll align with the other lines. You can also use freeform. And it doesn't have to be exact, but just make sure that it's close. You can go for something like this. Then we'll go back to the layers and we'll duplicate this one. We'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the bottom one. Let's zoom out a bit here, or zoom in. And then we'll switch the color of this layer. We'll grab black, double tap here, drag it onto the layer. Then we'll go to the magic wand and to Gaussian blur, and then slide your pen to the right on your screen to get this shadow effect. And then tap the magic wand again. And then you get this nice 3D effect as if the square is moving towards you. For this next effect, we'll use our adjusted monoline brush again, but we will make it smaller. Let's go for like 2%. And I will make a line again. And hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly horizontal line. Then we'll zoom out again, go to the Move and Transform tool, let's set it to freeform, and then let's stretch it again. So we get some nice thin lines. Stretch it like this, then tap the arrow again to get out of here. And then we'll go to the magic wand and then to glitch. We'll set it to wave and we'll turn it all the way up to 100%. And then you can play with the frequency. And we can go for something like this. You can also play with the amplitude until you get a nice waveform. And then we can tap the magic wand again. And now we can make a hidden image inside this pattern. First, you can just turn this off and tap the plus for a new layer. And on this new layer, you can use black and draw something, or you can put a logo in here, anything that is a bit abstract. For instance, we can just use the monoline brush, and let's just create a simple face. I'll just make 2 circles. But you can put anything here. This is just a very simple example. I'll drag in the color here. And I will go to the layer menu. I will tap this layer and use select. Now make sure that you don't have color fill turned on here. Then we'll go to our wave layer. Let's turn that on. Tap it. And use copy. Then let's turn this layer off, tap the plus for a new layer on top, and then you can go to the wrench, then to add, and then use paste, and then tap the arrow here. Now you can't see anything, but just wait. We'll go to the magic wand and use Gaussian blur. Now slide to the right until you start seeing the image that you have created, but not too much. Perhaps something like this with a blur of 3%. Then we'll tap the magic wand again. Next, we'll go to the selection tool and use automatic. And then we'll tap here, and then you can slide a bit to change the threshold. And the higher you have your threshold, the thinner the lines will become that we have later. I'll try something around 30%. Then tap invert. Then make a new layer on top of this one. We'll tap the plus and we'll turn this one off. Then we'll tap the new layer and use fill layer. And now you can see that we have a hidden image. If you zoom in, you don't see that much, but when you zoom out, you'll see that little face. And by playing around with your selection threshold, you can control how subtle this effect is. For this next effect, we'll go to the wrench, then to canvas, then we'll turn on the drawing guide, then go to edit drawing guide, then to symmetry, tap options and set it to radial. Then we'll tap done. And then let's grab a brush. I'll be using the Studio Pen under inking with my color set to black, but you can also use a different color depending on what you want your end result to look like. Now the opacity of my brush is at 100%. I'll set the size to 10%. Then let's zoom out a little bit and start in the center and make some lines going outward. You can hold your pen in place for a nice straight line, and you can tap line here to adjust this center part. And tap the brush to get out of there. Let's make another line. Something like this. Next, we'll go to the layer menu and turn off drawing assist. And we are going to start making curved lines. Let's go in here. And for this one, we'll make lines like this. Curving upward. And you can vary the amount of curvature We'll just make these shapes like this. And then on the one next to it, we'll make curves the other way around, curving downwards. All the way to the edge. And then you do this for all of the sections until it looks like this. Next thing we'll do is fill these areas. Just drag in the color to here, and then you can use continue filling here at the top, and then tap in these areas to fill them. And then on this side, switch it up. So this time we'll fill this one, this, and this. And then over here, we'll switch again. And continue doing this for all of the sections. Simply tapping inside these areas. And I can tap this little check mark. And I see that over here, I have missed a line. So I'll make an extra one and drag in the color there. By the way, if you're having fun so far with these optical illusions in Procreate, and if you want to have even more fun in Procreate and develop your Procreate drawing and painting skills, then go check out my Patreon, because I have more than 200 tutorials over there. So you can learn how to get the most out of Procreate. Now for the next step, let's turn off our drawing guide. We don't need that anymore, actually. Let's go to the wrench, to canvas, turn off the drawing guide. And now we are going to add shadows and highlights. Let's make a layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus and turn on drawing assist on this layer. That'll save us some time. And for the brush, let's go to the airbrushing brushes, and we could use the soft blend, for instance, and we'll just stick with black. Now the opacity of this brush is at 100%. The size is at 5. And let's zoom out a little bit so we can see the edges of our canvas. And I'll start here and make a line going out and over here. And then to make it even better, we'll go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur. We'll slide to the right to like 13%. Then we'll make another layer. We'll tap the plus, and this time we'll grab white. So we'll double tap here. And also, let's not forget to turn on drawing assist on this layer. We'll tap the layer, turn on drawing assist, and then we'll make a line over the top of these shapes like this, and over this one, and this one. And then again, let's use Gaussian blur. We'll go to the magic wand, tap Gaussian blur, slide to the right to soften this effect. And then finally, let's add some shadow in the center. We'll tap the plus for a new layer. We'll grab black. You can go to history here or just double tap here. And let's go over this area a bit with a circular motion to get some shadow in there. And now with just a few strokes, you have created this crazy 3D effect. Finally, we'll make this crazy effect that makes me kind of dizzy and might hypnotize you to hit the like button. And for this one, we will use our adjusted monoline brush again. So we'll go to calligraphy, go to the monoline brush that we have created, tap it, and then go to stroke path again, and we'll set the spacing to 60. If I can handle it, yeah, 60%, and then tap done. And we'll set the size to 10%. And I will stick with a black. Let's zoom out a little bit. And we are going to try and create a circle with which we'll have pretty much the same, an equal amount of distance between our circles. So let's just try, draw a circle like this. This is pretty good, actually. Hold your pen in place. Tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. And let's go for something like this. It's not perfect. The distance here is a little bit wider, but for the hypnotizing effect, this will work. Then let's go to the Move and Transform tool, little arrow here. Make sure that snapping is turned on, and then place this circle in the center of your canvas. Then we'll go to the layer menu and duplicate this layer by sliding to the left, tapping duplicate, then tap the layer and turn on alpha lock. Now we can pick a different color. You can go for any color combination you like. I'll go for something with blue. I'll go for something like this. And then go back to your layer menu, tap the layer which has alpha lock turned on, and then use fill layer. Then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool, and I use this green handle to slightly rotate this layer. Then we'll duplicate this layer, slide to the left, tap duplicate, grab a different color. I'll go for a brighter blue, then go back to the layer, tap it, and use fill layer. Then go to the Move and Transform tool again and move it a little bit to the right. Then we'll do this again, duplicate the layer. This time I'll go for white, tap the layer again and use fill layer, then go to the Move and Transform tool and rotate. Then again, slide to the left, tap duplicate. This time I'll go for something yellowish, and go back to the layer, tap it, use fill layer, go to the Move and Transform tool and rotate again. And then let's go one more time, slide to the left, tap duplicate. I'll go for a darker orange, back to the layer, tap it, and use fill layer. And then again, go to the Move and Transform tool and rotate it a bit. And now let's tap the arrow. Next, let's go to our bottom layer. We'll tap it and then use select. Then over here, tap invert. Then go to the top layer, tap it and use mask. Then we'll go to the layer underneath, tap that and again use mask. And I will do the same for our white circles. Tap the layer and use mask. And then for our blue layer, tap it, use mask. Now let's turn off our selection and then we'll use this layer mask and then we'll grab white. And for your brush, you could use something like the Studio Pen under inking. And I will go over here to make the brush nice and big, like 75%. We'll go over here and make that blue one visible again. Just go over all of the blue ones. Until you've done them all like this. Then we'll do the same for the white circles. Tap the layer mask and then go along these areas to fix that until it looks like this. And then finally we'll do the same for this yellow layer. So make sure to select the layer mask and then go along these edges. Until we got that perfect circle with these overlapping circles inside. Wonderful. Now we have this, and now we can pinch all of these layers together. And now all we have to do is duplicate this layer a whole bunch of times. Let's slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the Move and Transform tool, make sure that it's set to uniform, Make this one smaller and place it in the center. And then slightly rotate it like this so that these parts align. You have like this bump. If you look at this black one, you have this bump. Here it connects. And then you have that bump. Then we'll duplicate this again. Slide to the left, tap duplicate. Go to the Move and Transform tool. Make this smaller. And place it in the center. Then rotate it a bit. And do this again. Make it smaller. Rotate it. And tap the arrow. Of course, we also need this outer area to be filled. So we can duplicate the bottom one, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to this bottom one, go to the Move and Transform tool and make this one bigger. And again, make sure that it's in the center and rotate it. Then duplicate this one, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom one, then to the Move and Transform tool to make it bigger. Then rotate it. And duplicate it one more time. Go to the bottom one, make it bigger. And rotate. If you need to save a layer space, you can pinch some layers together and then continue with this top one, duplicate it, and make it smaller. And we'll continue doing this until you can't anymore. Tap the arrow. To continue duplicating those layers, making them smaller and rotating them until it looks like this. And then you get sucked into this crazy hypnotic spiral and you can't fight the urge to follow more of my tutorials, like one of these two. Let me know in the comments which of these optical illusions was your favorite, and then I'll see you next time for the next tutorial.